Hey everyone, it's TheAngryHoneyBadger here, and it's time to take a look at a champion build video today. We're going to be playing as Vayne in the bottom lane. This is just like the day before preseason began, so this is the very last footage I have of Season 3. We can remember it this way. Anyways, we're going to be looking at Vayne today, and we're going to be playing her a little bit. And what we're going to do with her is talk about her abilities, some items you're going to want to consider buying on her, runes, masteries, all that fun stuff. So we're going to go ahead and talk about all those things today, and some of that. We're going to do okay in lane, to be honest. We're actually going to get into a fight in just a second, but then we're going to actually feed Ezreal a little bit. But don't worry, this actually lets us see what Vayne can do later as the game continues on, because Vayne, as the game goes on, scales really well. Actually getting ganked right now by the Eve on their team. Gonna actually move towards this more. Don't know why pathing it freaked out there. Didn't let me standard attack, so I'm gonna roll, do a tumble real quick, and pick up a first blood. Now, I know I'm gonna die. I tell someone to run away, but I get caught and die. And I think she might get caught too. No, she's gonna get away. Good. Happy about that. Anyway, so we did pick up first blood, so fairly helpful. We started out with a Dorans Blade down in bottom lane. I still think it's a strong start. You can do that. And go ahead and pick that up. If you want to start with boots and pots, you can do that too. If you want to do a long sword and some pots, you can do that as well. So it's totally up to you. And but I like the long sword, or I mean the Dorans Blade. That's just the way I like to go. That first trip back, I'm going to go ahead and pick up my mobility and attack speed. It's not a horrible thing on Vayne. That's what we're going to be focusing on today because of her abilities and how that all works. So let's go ahead and start off there. Let's look at her abilities and see what those are. First, we're going to go over her passive, which is called Night Hunter. Basically, you gain 30 movement speed when you're moving towards an enemy champion. So chasing basically is easier for you because you get bonus movement speed. So it's very easy to chase down targets and deal a little bit of extra damage, especially if they only need 1 or 2 more hits. It works out really well, and it's really kind of a cool passive. I do like it, and it works out like just rather nicely all the time. First, then, what we're going to do at level 1 is put a point into your Q ability, which is your tumble. What tumble does, it's going to let you maneuver towards the direction wherever your mouse is at, and you're going to roll your cursor. Here, we're actually getting into another little fight, pick up another kill, and this is our doing okay early, but it falls apart a little bit. You'll see how that works. But your tumble is going to let you roll in a direction. You're going to deal some bonus damage then on your next attack, based off of your, I believe, your attack damage. So that's what you can do with your tumble. You can max this out first if you're looking for the pokes. You can max this out second. Just kind of depends on what you want to do with your other very nice abilities. So your next one you're going to put a point in at level 2 is your Silver Bolt. Silver Bolts is your W. It is going to, every 3 attacks, I died there, every 3rd attack, consecutive attack, that's the main thing, you're going to deal additional true damage to the target based off of their maximum health and some other damage. It is capped on minions and monsters, though, but it's just really good true damage. And so kind of the main thing people focus on when they are playing Vayne is the ability to keep stacking those rings, or her silver bolts, rather quickly. I think we're going to pick up a... Nope, we're going to die. See, there's another one of those. I don't know why I didn't standard attack. I was in range. Things kind of freaked out, and I died. So... yeah, we're doing kind of meh in the lane. But your silver bolts, basically, you just want to get those consecutive attacks off quicker and quicker so you get all that true damage. And that's why a lot of people will focus on attack speed with Vayne. And we're going to actually do that a little bit, but we're going to make sure we get the sequence right, and we're going to do that, and things will be fun. So that's your silver bolts. Put a point to it at level 2. Max this out either second or first. Totally up to you, though. I like it a lot. I think it does great damage. So I typically will put some more points into it, and it works out for me. Anyways, then at level 3, put a point into your E ability, which is called Condemned. And now what Condemned does is you will hit the enemy and you will knock them into a direction. Now, if you hit the enemy and it hits them into a wall, it's going to deal more damage to them, and it is going to stun them for 1.5 seconds. So what we did a few times in those fights you saw early is I would tumble, basically, to get them, so I lined it up for them to get hit into the wall. And maneuvering yourself and positioning with Vayne is really kind of an important thing to get a lot of these kills, or these setups for these kills. What's really easy, especially if you go to lane with someone with a stun like Taric, if Taric stuns enemy support while she's standing in a bush or something, and then you just tumble and then condemn them into the wall, you're going to deal a lot of damage just from the tumble and the condemned, and then they'll get stunned, and then your rings are also stacking, and you'll pick up just lots of kills that way. So it works out really well, and just lots of little tricks you can do, but it's all about that positioning. If you want to use it to just knock them out of the way, there I believe we did hit her. I am going to pick up the kill, but I will die, and Ezreal will pick up the double kill. But what you can do is just work on that combination with a friend, eliminate one target really quick, and that'll work out for you just very well, actually. So that's your Condemned. Vayne just heavy on that positioning. We're starting to build towards our first main item, though, which will be a Blade of the Ruined King. We do have that Bilgewater, and we do have a couple long, or little daggers or whatever, to help us with that attack speed once we finish this item. That'll definitely help us out. But that's what we're going for first, because we want the attack speed and that percentage of life, too. We're just kind of doing percentage of life and true damage on Vayne early on. So that's what we're working towards. So we're working on that Blade of the Ruined King. We do have our boots finished because we did that quick, just because the maneuverability is nice, especially with a Eve ganking us. It's going to be nice to have some movement speed, try to get away from her, because Eve is just going to be annoying with all that invisibility now and the less vision that we're going to be having, at least in the preseason so far. So that's what we're working on. Those are those first abilities. We're going to go ahead and have 4 of us down here, because why not? And we're going to get into a little bit of a fight. Sejuani's going to move in. Vayne actually is me. I'm going to shoot at the Eve because Eve showed up too. Sejuani, I think, just barely going to get away. We're going to pick up a kill because that bonus movement speed from that passive, easy to keep up and keep attacking the Eve. So we're going to go ahead and kill her. So that'll help us finish off that Blade this next time when we go back. And so those are our first just normal abilities. Then there is your ultimate, which of course is the R. And that is Final Hour. And what happens there is when you activate this, you're going to get increased damage. And you can go stealth for 1 second when you use your tumble while this is activated. And I believe you get some bonus movement speed from Night Hunter. And yeah, basically you get kind of super buffed. And it's really nice to use this if you need to slip away from somebody. Like if you just don't think you can escape, it's actually kind of nice to use Final Hour and then tumble because you go invisible for that 1 second. So you can kind of trick people with positioning. We'll do it once in a fight just to kind of trick Eve when we are going to get low to her coming up in a fight. So we'll keep an eye out for that when it gets to that point. But that's your Final Hour. It's really good. Don't be afraid to use it just to get all those extra buffs and the tumble, invisibility, and that bonus damage. So that's what we're working on early on. We did finish that Blade of the Ruined King, so we have that now. We can also use the active on it, which is helpful too, so don't forget to use that. And then we're also going to start building towards, right now, the workings or the beginnings of a Zeal. And Zeal's going to help us with even more movement speed, because movement speed while chasing is great, and it helps us kite the enemy around, just because we're going to have all that mobility moving around. We'll be able to tumble, we'll be able to knock them away from us if we need to with that Condemn. So we can just knock people away instead of stunning them to walls. If somebody just gets all up in your face, it's some decent peel for yourself. I need to stop getting hit by those. But you'll have some decent peel for yourself if people are just, you know, all up in your face. Why not? Here, we're going to get into a bit of a fight. I'm going to tumble out of the way of that one. Ez actually fluxes in, and I'm going to take damage from it. He's going to have to get protected, but it's not going to be enough. So we're going to shut him down, and then we'll be able to easily chase after Morgana. I'm trying to cut her off. She's going to go up the other way, though. And we'll just hit her a couple times, condemn her into the wall so she does not go anywhere, and we'll pick up a double kill. So with that movement speed we're going to be getting from that passive, super helpful. And then once we finish off this Zeal, we'll get a little bit more movement speed there, always a good thing, and some crit chance and more attack speed. So Eve actually shows up now. We're going to actually work on her. We're going to be stacking the silver bolts. You can see every third shot is a big one because it is that true damage going off. You'll see it here from right there, and with the tumble damage on top of that, we're going to be able to kill her too. So now we're doing real well. But that's how Vayne kind of works. You can't really run away from her. It's pretty tough. And she can kite people around fairly well. So that's why she's a good duelist as a ADC / marksman. So we're going to go ahead and finish off that Zeal. Now, a few issues with building so much attack speed and ability of the Ruined King immediately. There's a few little issues you can have with that. One of them is you don't have tons of damage, just raw damage. So you really are needing to keep stacking your consistent rings of those silver bolts on the same target, because if you don't get that true damage off, you really aren't helping your damage. You can't just keep switching targets. You need to get those rings going off. So there we picked up another kill because we focused, you know, same target. Ez got a little bit out of the way, so we weren't going to be able to pick him up, so we switched targets. But because of that, you need some kind of damage. And what we did is we finished off the Zeal, but now we need more damage we need just raw damage too. Can't just only have that true damage. It is good, but we need a little bit of just normal damage. So what we did is we built a Last Whisper. That will help us out quite a bit, and we're going to be shredding through everybody's armor right now too, which really does help. It's going to give us that 40 attack damage and some armor pen. So that's what we decided to do there. So now we at least have a little bit more damage. Not tons yet, because we didn't do anything like a Bloodthirster or an Infinity Edge. So we're not getting really lots of raw damage there, but we have lots of attack speed. We have the percentage damage from Blade, and we have the true damage from Silver Bolts. So that's where kind of our core damage is coming from. So that's what we did there. Now, as for those abilities, we'll go back to those for just a second. Maxing them out totally comes down to how long I think your lane lasts, and just it's kind of situational. But either your Q or your W first, max out your E last, and then that ultimate level 6, 11, and 16. As for your runes, there's a few different ways you can do those too. I like attack damage on those marks. It's going to be helpful there. Armor seals, magic resist per level glyphs are going to be nice. And then as for those quintessences, you can do 2 different types. You could actually do 3 if you really wanted the mobility. You could do some movement speed ones, but I don't think those are necessary. The lifesteal ones are nice for in lane. It's nice to have just a little bit more survivability and sustain. Or you can do the attack damage ones. Those will help you out too. There we're going to condemn Morgana into the wall again, and that last bolt goes off for the 3rd proc, so that true damage goes off, and we'll get her killed off nicely. And we're at that point where once Vayne gets a couple attack speed items and a little bit of damage, you gotta look out, because she'll pick up kills fairly easily. Here, they're gonna move in fairly quick. Eve's coming in. She's moving in towards me. I'm gonna go ahead and have the final hour activated. I'm gonna tumble actually through her. I go invisible there, so I'm on the other side of her. She did flash to try to get away, and I'll be able to pick up the kill while I run off now so I don't die. But, you know, you can just tumble away from people in the other direction, maybe not the way they thought you'd even go, and it'll just confuse them for that split second, but if that's enough for you to get 1 or 2 more attacks off for them to die, then that'll work. So you just have to work on positioning. Like I said, positioning is kind of a key thing with Vayne, and the way you get better at it is really just to practice with her and watch people who are very good with Vayne just doing those mechanics. So a lot of pros play Vayne. You'll see that. Here, we're going to actually sneak up on Eve as she's taking that red buff. I'm going to work on it too. I'm going to pick that up, and then we're going to just condemn her into the wall and kill her quick. So got the enemy red buff, always helpful. That'll help us kite enemies around even better now, because we'll have a little bit of a slow on them. And we can go ahead and continue talking about the build as well. We finished off that Zeal into a Phantom Dancer. Phantom Dancer is nice on Vayne for a couple of reasons. A, it gives you the movement speed, which is helpful. 50%, or gives you the 50 attack speed and the 30 crit chance. And the other nice thing it does is it gives you that passive, which lets you ignore unit collision. So you're able to chase even better. Nothing's going to be getting in your way because of the lack of units being in the way. So that's just one other nice thing to have while you're doing all this high mobility stuff on Vayne. So that's what we decided to finish off. And now we picked up a pickaxe, because what we're going to do now is, with building a Phantom Dancer, you start to get a handful of crit chance just naturally, because, you know, we're going to get some. So what we're going to do now, besides die, is we're going to be able to start working towards our Infinity Edge. And Infinity Edge will help us out because it's going to give us more damage, which is always good. It'll give us more crit chance, 25 of that, and then we're going to get bonus crit strike damage from its passive. So once we finish this off, we'll have about 55 crit chance and more damage, so lots of crits, and then lots of rings and lots of attack speed helping us out. And it's just going to be a lot of damage overall coming in. We'll be able to kill people very quickly. So that's what we're going to be doing with the items that we're working on. So once you finish off the Infinity Edge, there's really a couple different things you could do after that. If you wanted more just damage, you could do a Bloodthirster if you wanted that, and Lifesteal. Another thing you could do if you need something to get away is a Mercurial Scimitar. But other than that, I'd usually actually finish off typically with a Guardian Angel. Here we're going to actually condemn Morgana into the wall again. Try to get over to the other side now, but we're going to work on a kill, shut down the Riven. Move over here, keep working on champions. We're going to kill all types of people. Triple kill there for the whatchamacallit, and then the other kill for the Ezreal. So a quick quadra, but that's kind of Vayne. If she doesn't get caught up to real quick, if they don't get to her, you can just keep kind of rolling around and killing people. So keep one person between you and the enemy team, and you'll usually just be able to do that, roll around, get all those silver bolts off, all that true damage. Those big crits too start to roll in. Really helpful. But yeah, that's pretty much Vayne. And that's pretty simple. The main thing is you want to pick up that Blade of the Ruined King fairly early, and some more attack speed, because proccing the silver bolts, I know I've gone over it a million times, but that's really what you're doing. And that's kind of where your core damage is. As for the masteries, it's 2190, pretty standard stuff. You can see that in my masteries video for Season 4, or you can see those on my Facebook page. But other than that, that's going to be the game, guys, and I'll just see all of you in the next build video. There's no minions between you and our Blitzcrank. Why are you even that close to me, and you're going to die? And yeah, he's going to die, so I'm going to get another kill. So now I'm 3-0. So, like, just, that's not smart.